Om Gam Ganapatye Namaha. Kaliyugada Kalpataru, the fifth delight, Shri Raghavendra Sarvabhauma. Chapter 20, the Incarnation of the foremost devotee, Sri Guru Raghavendra Swami. What is unattainable when the Lord of Wealth, Bhagavan Shri Srinivasa, is pleased? The boon granted by the Lord manifested swiftly, just as Aditi before Mahidasa and the eastern directions bore the moon, and just as the earth held the 9 treasures with her, Gopikamba Devi conceived a son in her womb. The pregnant Gopamba appeared exceptionally beautiful. Her body glowed with natural radiance. Those who saw her described her beauty in their own ways. Some said, "She is like the assembly of the moon phases." Others remarked, "She resembles the ocean's shore, illuminated by the soft light of white foam." Some even suggested perhaps she embodies the virtuous merits of Timmannacharya. Others wondered, could it be the glory of her husband or the fame of the child within her that manifests in her beauty? Or has the moon itself assumed a form and arrived there? Who is the Lord of this radiance? Thus the people of the town praised her. Gopikamba's body appeared as if it had taken on the complexion of moonlight. The moonlight from the unborn child, the moon in her womb, seemed to suffuse her entire being. Just as Chakravaka birds naturally separate at the nightfall despite the presence of moonlight, her bosoms, compared to the Chakravaka couple, remained united. This unity was no wonder, as the ascetic-like sun growing within her womb naturally caused this union. In the presence of such a great soul, opposites like lions, deers, and other animals renounced enmity and coexisted peacefully. Similarly, it was the influence of the mighty ascetic child in her womb that united her Chakravaka bosoms. Pregnant women typically desire decorations, fragrant baths, and tasty foods. However, the youthful Gopamba exhibited detachment from all this. Why? The reason is simple. Within her womb resided a great ascetic, a treasure of renunciation. It was natural that her son's detachment had already spread throughout her body, causing her to exhibit the same qualities. As Gopamba's pregnancy progressed, the poetic imaginary of her changing body was described in various ways. Normally, women have a triple line, that is, Trivali, below their navel. However, as her pregnancy advanced, her Trivali disappeared. Poets poetically interpreted this phenomenon, suggesting a Brahmin owes 3 depths, those to sages, gods, and ancestors. Through celibacy, Timmannacharya fulfilled his depth to the sages. Through marriage and yagnas, he fulfilled his debt to the gods. Now, by having a son, he is about to fulfill his debt to his ancestors. Perhaps Lord Brahma, indicating the fulfillment of these debts, has caused Gopamba's Trivali to disappear. Pregnant women are often seen craving red clay, that is Kemannu. However, Gopikamba's craving for Kemannu was not ordinary. Within her womb was growing an ascetic destined to be a world-renowned sannyasi. Saffron robes and red clay are essential for sannyasis. To ensure that her son, who would grow up as a sannyasi, developed a natural affinity for red clay and saffron garments, Gopamba might have been instinctively consuming red clay to accumulate it for him from now on. At Gopamba's house, warm water prepared in a golden vessel was ready, along with a variety of delicious dishes. However, Gopamba rejected all of this, preferring instead to drink the cool water from a river chilled by morning dew. She avoided the prepared delicacies, regardless of their taste, and chose instead to eat food brought from other households: pickle, chutneys, tamarind-based dishes, gooseberries, raw mangoes, and magali root extracts. She derived great joy from consuming this. This behavior was not typical for a pregnant woman. There was a special reason for it. Her unborn child was destined to become a sannyasi, that is, ascetic. For sannyasis, consuming food from others' alms is prescribed. Therefore, she instinctively consumed food brought from others' homes to prepare her child, the future ascetic, for his lifestyle. From her childhood, Gopikamba had been a learned and talented woman, proficient in poetry, drama, literature, and music. and was an accomplished poetess. Now, as a pregnant woman, she spent her time engaging in purposeful activities that relieved her of lethargy and kept her creatively occupied. She would compose and recite many stories of Sri Hari's glory and various well known Puranic tales under the pen name Gurudavahana, Lakshmi Narayana Devara Ankita. Surrounded by noble women of her age, she sat regally in these gatherings, eloquently translating legendary stories and composing her own songs and poems, which she sang melodiously, spreading joy to all around her. In the 7th month of her pregnancy, Timmannacharya organized a grand Srimanta ceremony, one of the 16 samskaras, along with the Pumsavana ritual for the unborn child. During the Srimanta, as per the Shastika family tradition, the Vedic mantras were played on the veena in a soft and melodious tone by Timmannacharya himself. He ensured the mantra was audible only to the unborn child and not to others. Being a skilled veena player, he gently strummed the veena while reciting the Vedic mantra in a low pitch, allowing the sound to reach the unborn child. Those who witnessed this unique tradition were left astonished. Afterward, the Pumsavana ritual was conducted. During this ritual, Timmannacharya used fruits of the Ashwagandha plant and chanted the mantra. He infused the fruit with the mantra and then crushed them, administering the juice through Gopikamba's nasal passage to provide nourishment to the unborn child. This act symbolized giving food to the fetus in the form of sacred and blessed nourishment, ensuring the child's well-being and strength. This is a practice prescribed in the scriptures and proper customs. Through this ritual, the unborn child is satisfied, and by the power of Vedic mantra recitation and the essence of the sacred fruit juice, the child imbibes the essence of all Vedas and scriptures. The ritual, symbolizing the offering of benefits associated with birth to the child, indicates that the child, born as a great soul, will grow into an ascetic with renunciation of worldly desires, living by alms in a satchel and becoming a revered protector of the communities of devotees. This is the message conveyed by the ritual of administering the essence of ripened fruit to the unborn child. Those who attended the ceremony understood this as a symbolic teaching practice for ascetics. After the Srimanta ceremony, the relatives of Timmannacharya, including his in-laws and other family members, departed once a grand celebration concluded. Since Timmannacharya's father-in-law's daughter was also nearing the time of her delivery, he left his wife at his son-in-law's house to assist and return to his village. On the auspicious Falguna Shukla Saptami, 7th day of the bright fortnight in the month of Falguna, during the Manmatha year of the Shalivahana era 1518, under the Mrigashira Nakshatra, and in a propitious time with exalted planets and full blessings of the moon and Jupiter, Gopikamba Devi gave birth to a son. This event, resembling the eastern celestial Ganga giving birth to the moon, marked the arrival of a child revered by all the noble Brahmins. A divine light that dispels the darkness of ignorance in the world had dawned. The reincarnation of the moon of nectar, Sriman Madhvacharya, had taken place. The savior of the world, the universally revered, and the embodiment of the supreme auspiciousness, Shri Raghavendra Sarvabhauma, was born. The radiant sun of fortune descended to earth, heralding a new era of universal well-being. At the moment of Gopikamba Devi giving birth to Sri Guru Raja, and experience had occurred to Timmannacharya was indicative of the significance and greatness of the newborn son. From the early hours of the morning, there was festivity in the house of Timmannacharya. Gopamma's time of delivery was nearing, and she shone with extraordinary radiance never seen before. Labor pains began for Gopamma. Her mother and elderly women relatives brought her to the temple, where she bowed before the Lord. From there, she was taken to another room, where she offered her respects to the oil paintings of Srimad Jayaraja, Sripada Rajaru, Vyasarajaru, and Vijayendra Gurugulu, which were hung there. She also bowed to the other saints present in the room. Timannacharya, smiling gently, blessed her, saying, "May you enjoy auspiciousness and prosperity. May you be blessed with a noble son." The elder woman took Gopama to the labor room, made her lie on the prepared bed, and busied themselves with preparing for her delivery. Timannacharya, after completing the morning rituals with Guru Raja, left his son at home and went to nearby temple to offer prayer to the Lord. He then began walking back home. It was about an hour after sunrise. Suddenly the sky became overcast, and there was a brief downpour lasting about a minute. Surprised by the sudden rain, the Acharya hurried home. Upon reaching the home, he opened the gate of the compound and stepped into the courtyard. To his astonishment, on the left and right sides of the house, two parijata trees, 12 feet tall and leaning against the wall, appeared to sway, and their flowers began to shower down like rain, spreading everywhere. At the same time, divine sounds of drums and trumpets were heard emanating from the temple. Witnessing and hearing these extraordinary occurrences, the Acharya was overcome with indescribable joy and a sense of wonder. As he stood there, marveling at these auspicious signs, Guru Raja ran out excitedly and exclaimed, "Father, I have a younger brother now." The Acharya's face lit up with joy. Immersed in a sea of bliss, he said, "Wonderful, my child. Lord Srinivasa's boon has been fulfilled. Our lineage has been blessed." Saying this, he entered the house. Inside the Acharya's aunt's daughter, Venkatamba, and two elder women welcomed him with joyful news of newborn child. They said, "The child is radiant with extraordinary brilliance and charm. The remarkable thing is that when the child was born, a divine glow like lightning flashed through the room and then disappeared. Ah, such a extraordinary light. We cannot describe it fully. Isn't this truly wondrous?" The Acharya was filled with awe and devotion. His faith in the fulfillment of the Lord's boon became even stronger. The miraculous events of the day reflected the exceptional greatness of the newborn child. In the Puranas, it is often mentioned that when the Lord of his devotees incarnate, showers of flowers fall from the heavens, and divine music of drums and trumpets resound. A similar occurrence had taken place at the time of the birth of the hero of our story. It is no wonder, for the great devotee Prahalada, now reborn as Shri Raghavendra, had incarnated. He bore the continuous presence of Lord Hari and Vayu within him. The purpose of his incarnation was the welfare of the world, the upliftment of the downtrodden, the propagation of Bhagavata Dharma, the establishment of righteousness, and the enlightenment of both the learned and the ignorant. The gods, filled with immense joy, marked the occasion with showers of nectar like rain, divine musical sounds from the temple, and a cascade of parijata flowers. This extraordinary event took place during the birth of Sri Guru Raja, confirmed his greatness and divine mission. For the welfare of the world, Prahalada, born through the boon of Lord Venkateshwara, incarnated as Shri Raghavendra Sarvabhauma. Overjoyed by this, the gods showered nectar like rains. Auspicious Dundubi drums resounded. The Kalparuksha, which adorns the celestial garden of Mahendra, symbolically indicated its joy over the incarnation of Sri Guru Raja, who would later be revered as Kalpataru, that is, wish-fulfilling tree, in the mortal world. This joy was expressed through a shower of flowers from the parijata trees near Acharya's house. Immersed in the nectar-like joy of auspicious news of the birth of his son, Timannacharya bathed in the river, signifying his immersion in an ocean of bliss. During this sacred and meritorious moment, he also attained freedom from the Pitrurana, that is, debt to ancestors, symbolizing as a release from the ocean of mud-like obligations. In accordance with the scripture's declaration, through progeny one fulfills the debt to ancestors. Thus the birth of a son absolved Acharya of his ancestral debt. On the 11th day after the birth, following the rituals customs, women placed the baby in the cradle. The child, in a natural and divine gesture, placed a straw in its mouth, evoking the sentiments of the verse. With his lotus-like hands, he brings his lotus-like foot to his lotus-like mouth. This act seemed to signify, "My devotees and disciples serve my lotus feet." This gesture is not new, but had been inherent somehow, since now and forever. The sight of this child placing its toe in its mouth appeared to convey this divine assurance to those who witnessed it. Hari Om. Om Sri Krishnarpanamastu.